Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you by Factor. Always fresh, never frozen, ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup, no mental load. We use Factor, and we think you should too. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Barkley.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Buggs. My brother, it is wonderful to be with you today. And I know you see my shirt here. You see the little crown, but I had to bring it up a little bit like this just so you could see. You know who that is. I don't even have to bring it all the way up.
Little B.I.G. for those listening to the pod.
A little B.I.G. Had to bring a little Notorious B.I.G. into the mix. I think this conversation that we're going to have today is just made me think about.
Yeah, it's a little Easter egg, isn't it?
Yes, one of the greatest to do it. So just wanted to drop that in there for you.
Thank you. I was thinking about Big E over the last weekend. I was doing some traveling. I was down in Atlanta, and I started playing the song "Victory," and it's got like Busta Rhymes in it, and of course it's got Diddy in it. And I thought, man, why did he have to be on every song? Like now, you can't listen. Like he sullied B.I.G. He's sullied Notorious for us. Like you can't turn. You gotta hear this dude all up in the track, all up in the song.
And I will say Snoop talked about it, right? He was like, "Hey man, you
talked
come
about
over
it
to
20,
Death Row
30 years ago."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Come over here. Your producer don't be in all your videos and all your songs." So yeah, I hear you, man.
And so the problem is, like, I'll be honest, like I'm not gonna. I don't freak out when a song of his comes on at all. Right?
Okay.
At all. I don't think about it. I'm able to separate. Same is true of R. Kelly. Like it's an R. Kelly song. I don't think about the dude. I would never want to hang with the dude. Like I learned in the music industry when I was in it, don't meet your heroes all the time. You know what I mean? But when my kids see who the artist is, they're like, Dad,
why?
Like,
you listening to him?
What are you? Like, who are you? I thought I knew you. And I'm like, it's for the other guy. Just let me listen to the other guy. Please.
I hear you, man. I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Yeah, hip-hop fan, concerns and problems there. We have someone with us today.
We do. I'm excited.
The lovely Yelena Popovic. And she is a producer. She's a director, a writer. You guys out there may know her from the movie Man of God or her latest project starring Omar Epps, Moses the Black. Yelena, welcome to the Make It Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you guys.
We're excited too. We're excited too, and I hope you enjoyed our bad boy of records banter earlier. I'm sure everyone heard your accent there. Can you tell us where you were born?
I was born in Belgrade. That's in Serbia today. But when I was born, it was Yugoslavia. It was one country. Now it's 5 different countries. That happens a lot in the world, And but it's Belgrade, Serbia now, and that's where I was born many, many years ago.
Yugoslavia was a big deal when I was growing up because my father bought a Yugo in 1990, a yellow Yugo. And he was so proud of it. He was so excited. We were like, what is this thing? And for those who don't know, editor Kate, throw up a picture of a Yugo, extra points for you, Starbucks gift card for you, Kate, if you can find a yellow one. So a yellow Yugo, and he was so proud of it. And we're like, what is this thing? It's so small. And he was like, that's because they're smarter than American. They were like, no, they're geniuses. They are efficient. They're like, because I'm half German, Yelena. So we had all this German pride in my house growing up and a lot of African-American pride. And he was like, this is very German of them. I remember him walking me around the car, showing me all the things about it and all the like accoutrement. And I would tell you what, Yelena, that car broke down in about 1 or 2 months.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Yep.
see, Yelena knows. That's what they were known for, right? Like, "You got a Yugo? What?"
Yeah, man. He used to drop me off at middle school in the Yugo, and when he would hit the gas, it would backfire twice. Pow, pow! And people would duck. They would duck in the bushes, in the lawn, because they thought it was gunfire at the school.
Gunfire, wow.
And no, I'd be like, "Guys, relax. It's just my dad driving off. Don't worry about
Mm.
it.
Believe it
Sorry."
or not, my dad had Yugo. Ours didn't break down, but
Nice.
got what they did to the ones that they sent overseas, you never know. It's like
How long did your Yugo last, Yelena?
for a long time. I mean, even now, after so many years, and this is ridiculous. I mean, my brother, my father had passed away, so
Mm.
did my mom, but my brother kept that Yugo, and I'm like, "This is a relic, man. What are you doing with this car?" I mean, it looks even odd in his parking lot, but he just keeps that because it was our dad's car.
If
That's
I
awesome.
found the Yugo today, I would buy it. Cash in hand, I would buy
The
it.
one that doesn't break down.
Well
Exactly.
well well, I would fix it. I would fix it up. I might even put a different engine in it. I'd put ground effects on that thing. I'd turn it into Fast and the Furious. You could, because I think at the time my dad bought the car, now this was, we have to sort of solve for inflation here. It was $4,000.
Oh,
Brand
wow.
new.
Wow.
Yeah, 1990, you could get a Yugo for 4 grand or 5 grand, brand new. And so I can imagine you might be able to get one now for
I don't think they
$4 or
even make them.
$5.
I think that
What?
was
You
yeah,
just
you can get them for free.
exactly what I was
And
gonna say,
then,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
Yelena, I can put all the dollars into fixing it up and making it work. So
Yeah,
now
Chris
I'm
said
going to write
Chris
this
said
down. I have an idea.
inflation. I was like, "Deflation, bro, what are you talking?"
I'm writing this down, Nick. I'm going to get a Yugo. Chris, to
Yeah.
Okay.
buy a Yugo.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, to
Yelena.
get Yugo for
Yeah,
free.
to get Yugo for free.
Oh, yeah, for
Um,
somebody
all
might
right.
even pay you to get to have it, like
To
I'm
take it
gonna
away,
use you.
right?
I'm gonna use you as my source and
Mm.
give me some inside baseball on where I can find this,
oh,
or
my
your brother, or your
brother.
brother. Exactly. Speaking of your mom, your dad, your brother, how would you describe your household growing up in 3 words? What 3 words would you use to describe your household?
Uh, simple, quiet, normal.
Simple, quiet, and normal. How did that? I guess how did that affect you growing up? Like how did that kind of household lead to the moment where you said, "I want to spend the rest of my life in filmmaking"?
It was precisely I don't know about ho it's interesting, maybe because I was like, even though I mentioned my brother, but he's 18 years older than me, so I was kind of growing up on my own. So and my parents were my mom was a teacher, my dad was a civil engineer, they were quiet people. I was spending a lot of time, if I wasn't with my friends, but on my own. I think
Mm,
that that imagination kicks in. It's almost like an only child, and growing up by myself with my parents, but not with my brother was already gone. And I think that that's why I remember I did a lot of theater plays and things like that. It interested me. I had interest in that kind of stuff. So uh, I I I think that that kind of thing probably prompted that uh, dreamy kind of quality, imaginary world, etc., etc. So this is
now,
where that started from.
I know you left the house at 16 and a half. Did you know what you wanted to do before, or did you discover that world of creativity that you're in today after you left?
I always loved movies and theater, but I didn't think about that. I left as as a fashion model. So
Mhm,
for
mhm.
me,
Yeah.
it was like, and the country was just the war started basically when I left. So there were
What
a
year
couple.
was that?
It was 1992 or 93. Don't
Got it.
hold me. If it's either one or the
Okay.
other year now, I don't remember exactly. But
Okay.
the war already broke out, and I remember I wanted to come to the States originally, but because of the embassy in Belgrade was shut down because of the war, uh, I had to go through Milan for the fashion modeling. I went and I stayed there for about a year, and then then came to United States. So that's what happened with me. I had to, uh, that was it, as far as me leaving the country. But I left, I think, mainly because not just the war, but Yugoslavia, even though it wasn't like Russia or Romania, communist
Mm,
type, we had Tito at the time. We were a little more Western in the sense, but it was still like, I mean, my dad, who was a civil engineer, couldn't really excel because he didn't wanna be a member of the Communist Party, for example. He
got it.
he he, uh, lost a job, he was persecuted unjustly. That's where my first film was in came from, and it was inspired. So, I kind of knew that I didn't wanna be in that position, so that influenced me a lot.
Mm,
Uh, Between the war, having a chance to leave as a model, I had some, offers. It was my ticket to get out and hopefully do something outside, and at that time, my dream was to be a fashion model, and so I didn't
yeah,
think any
yeah.
further than that. But then, as the life progressed, I end up, studying in Los Angeles in Playhouse West, which was, I give all my credit to that school. I've learned all my
Yeah.
craft there and to my teachers, and then it slowly morphed, for different reasons, for the reasons I having an accent, not getting my, immigration status resolved for 18 years. I mean,
Wow.
like, obstacle after obstacle, you would think, have being a single mom for 6 years, there were a lot of things with me that, uh, had a dream, took a responsibility for what I did. I came on my own to do something, but then, you get older, when modeling didn't happen, I went into acting. Then when I couldn't, maybe, years are going by, you're not getting what you thought you wanted to achieve. Then I started writing because of that. I realized that was something that I enjoyed, and it looked like I wasn't too bad at it. And then finally, many, many years later, I picked up a camera, 7D camera, and made my first film, LA Superheroes, just to start somewhere. And prior to that, I did write a couple of scripts, and then one thing led to another, and yeah, then Man of God happened. That was a miraculous event. I can tell you, I never thought that after being in LA for 18 years, I was able to get the film off the ground because I tried really
Right.
hard and nothing ever happened. And now
10-year
I'm
process, right?
yeah, and now I'm in Greece and uh, looking back in my life wondering, wow, this is tough stuff, and then all of a sudden you have this artist that never gives up, that I'm going like in the middle of this really dark, I'm talking about my mind situation and
Mhm.
feeling like, what do I like? Just uh, nothing is happening for me. I have this, but maybe I'm in Greece. I wrote the script, Man of God. Maybe now that I'm in Greece, maybe I'm here for a reason to make a movie about Saint Nectarios. And guess what? When I was almost 50 years old, it happened. So
Yeah, it was a huge hit. I mean,
it was
4 weeks number 1 in Greece,
in Greece, yeah.
huge
The-
hit in
that- that-
Serbia and in Russia.
yeah, and it came out here it was like three showings only, but they were sold out. I mean, made close to $1 million. It was crazy. It was people liked the movie.
That's
So that
incredible.
was that's something that I could have never foreseen.
You mentioned
It's
a couple of moments that you went through there in your journey. You're doing this by yourself. You're
Mhm.
getting all these obstacles, and even you just mentioned you had these sort of dark moments in your mind. How did you this industry can put you in that space.
Huh.
Everybody that's ever worked a day in it knows. How did
Everybody.
you Yeah, how did you work through it? How did you get yourself through those dark periods in your career?
For me, it was my faith. And I wouldn't be alive if that wasn't. I consider that a gift. I always felt close to God, and it was I'm a positive person, and I always believe that there's a reason for everything. and that there is a purpose no matter how bleak things are, no matter how difficult things are, there is a way out and there is a reason for everything. And I've personally experienced amazing stuff because of that outlook. And I've literally, I mean, there were moments I remember when I was in New York doing modeling. I think I was about 18 years old. I remember
Wow.
finally getting into an apartment after being tossed around from one place to another. Didn't have a place to stay, and then you're kind of, you're a young girl. You're everybody is just trying to take advantage left and right.
Yeah.
So, you stay in one person's apartment, then they later you realize they want something else from you, so you have to go to somebody else's, and so it was like a very difficult process. I remember it was one of the worst winters in New York that I always end up in the middle of. It's always super difficult for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got finally to my apartment, it was at one point that I did not know if I was gonna make the rent, and I did not have any money. It was only I remember holding this $5 bill in front of me because that's all I had. And I obviously, I'm there by myself, my family's back home, but, I'm so I remember thinking of things, and there was a particular moment in that studio apartment that I felt this incredible peace, that
Mm.
I can't describe in words. That I knew 100% not only that I was alive and but I had this warmth and love that I've never experienced ever before. And I knew there was grace, and I knew that I was gonna be okay. And I
Wow.
am grateful for moments like that, because those are the moments now that still keep me going, and that me at my age, I feel so joyful and grateful for everything, because I know that there is light out there, and there are things much bigger than what we perceive them to be.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's amazing, Chris. I was just gonna ask you, Yelena. I think the story is amazing. Yeah, Chris and I, we've been through our trials and tribulations.
Trials and
And we've
tribulations.
mentioned, yeah, we've mentioned several of them before. But one of the things
Yeah.
that I was reading, Yelena, was that you mentioned in an earlier interview, you'd actually said that you experienced several miracles while shooting Man of God. And I would just love to hear about, one of those that you experienced that may have even changed your life, you know?
Of course, I mean, I think the most. Um, I'll just share one. I mean, a lot of
Please.
things are kind of miraculous. Even that happening was a miracle. But we were shooting for like 7 weeks, and it was during the COVID time, so it was kind of intense. One of the miracles for sure. I mean, having everybody tested on the set, and for like 7 weeks not having one person contracting COVID. I don't know. I mean, if you want to do the math, and there's 100 people on the set, I think that qualifies for a miracle. But I want to say, because
Agreed.
and if we were like shut down for 2 weeks, because you're independent filmmaker, and you brought people from overseas at one point, and they're on, but we wouldn't be able to finish the movie. So
Mhm.
everything was like holding on the thread, but it happened. So, but the miracle that I want to stress is it was the last week of shooting.
Mm.
And I remember we were on an island. We shot everything around Athens, but there was this island of Egina where the saint about whom I made a movie about, Saint Notorious. That's where his monastery is, and we were allowed to shoot in the room where he stayed, and we used some of the scenery around. So as we were about to finish shooting, I remember it was Wednesday, and I was at the monastery, and the producer, Alexander Spotter, who's also my husband, he walks up to me and he says, "Yelena, I just got to tell you something. I just spoke to the producers. We had a meeting, and the crew, like on the news. I don't know if you know what's going on. There's some kind of a crazy hurricane coming from Italy, and looks like on Friday and Saturday we are not going to be able. We're going to have to find a way." And to explain, it might be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just shoot on Sunday and Monday." Well, no, we had people from overseas that were contracted, and we would have ended up have to be we would be in big trouble because our budget was so limited. So those 2 days could have crushed the production, basically.
Right.
So for some reason, I remember I was at the bottom part of the monastery when he told me that, and we were walking up the stairs, and something, it's that feeling inside. I told him, listen, I don't know, just wait. Don't make any decisions yet, because let's see, tomorrow is Thursday. We're going back to Athens. The shoot is not till Friday. Let's see what's going on. So despite all this terrible weather, like you could see on the news, like the cars were getting flooded. I mean, it was crazy stuff coming from Italy, going into Greece, like and the shooting on Friday was indoors. But regardless, I mean, if it was that kind of storm, we wouldn't be able to do it. But somehow, Friday, we got there, everything was fine. There was no rain, there was no storm. We were shooting. However, like the storm reached Peloponnesus, which is the southern part of Crete, and it's already southern part of Greece. And they were like warning everybody the next day to stay in, to close their glass windows, to cover them, because it was really crazy what was going on out there. And they said, well, tomorrow, okay, we had a miracle today, it worked, but tomorrow there is no way.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, Sunday, well, there's going to be a double pay. I'm like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to have to do something, right? But then something happened at that moment. That was 18th of September. I remember the date because it's connected to something. I get a message from my best friend in Serbia, and she says to me, Happy Archangel Michael Day. I'm like going like, what kind of message is this? Why? But because we usually celebrate him in November. Like, what is she sending me this now? And I have a close connection to this particular saint, archangel. And so I had already miracles happen before, connected to him. So I see this out of nowhere. And I'm thinking, what is she talking about? So then I'm thinking, wait a second, when do we celebrate the miracle of Archangel? There is something that we celebrate, that we acknowledge, a miracle that happened in the 2nd century at the church in Koni, that's now present-day Turkey, where the pagans were trying to direct the river into the church that was dedicated to Archangel Michael. And the parishioners, they stayed and they prayed on their knees. This really happened, and they were ready to die. And before the river hit them, Archangel appeared and hit with the sword, and till today they call it Honi, like a tunnel, because the water went under the church. And this was the miracle that happened. That's why it's still recorded in history. So that was the date. 19th of September was the day of the miracle. So I understand what she was referring to.
Yeah.
So now pay attention to what I do. I just get this feeling, and I get out in the middle of the set. At the end, I go like, you know what? I don't want anybody canceling the shoot tomorrow. We're gonna shoot.
Huge risk. Yeah.
And
Oh
they're like,
yeah.
excuse me? I'm like, you have my DP, you have the sound guy, you have like, well, they think probably I've lost. I didn't say why. I just said, trust me, if they go like Yelena, and everybody came, you have to understand something. There is no way. It's coming. It's not just the rain. It's the wind. It's like if it's just a rain, okay, we can maybe even swing it, but there is no possible way. You're just gonna, if you don't tell people that you're not hiring them tomorrow, you're gonna have to pay them regardless. I'm like, you're not gonna tell anybody to cancel this. We're going tomorrow. They did not know what was going on. They had to listen to me. They just shrugged their shoulders and they went home. Check this out now. The next day, we wake up in the morning. The hurricane was coming, right?
Yes.
As it reached Peloponnesus, for some reason, it turned right. No. This is the truth. So turn right, the major wind, and went towards Turkey. But the rain came to Athens. So when we were early in the morning, wake up, my husband was like, well, our first scene is inside of the church, wherever our location was. So it's a lot of rain, but there's no wind. There's no hurricane. The hurricane is not going to hit Athens now. So we can go and shoot. At least let's shoot the first scene. The second scene is outdoors, but at least let's get the first scene out. So we get there. It's pouring rain, like crazy stuff. We go inside. We shoot one of the scenes. And literally, I kid you not, the moment we finish shooting the first scene, and we walked out of the church, the rain just stops.
Wow.
No, this is I've spoken about. There's a video
Yep.
about this that I can even send you. It was made of me talking about it. So the rain stops. We look at each other. Everybody's with this, with their covers and stuff, and everybody look the cameraman, the sound man, and we're like, okay, well let's set up and try to maybe it's not gonna rain, right?
Right.
So we shot for another 6 hours.
Whoa.
Finished the day of shooting while in the perimeter of like not even a half a mile, everywhere around us, it was pouring rain like crazy. And when we finished, and when everybody got in their car, like less than half a mile later, it was pouring. Nobody could understand what was going
I
on.
don't understand it.
Yeah. Yelena understands
I
it.
literally, I
Yeah.
have a picture in front of his big icon, like thanking him, like saying, "Thank you for this miracle because you saved me." And then the Sunday came. I remember it was sunny, and then Monday was the last day of shoot, and I was literally like, "Thank you, God," But that was definitely a miracle. And
I
and
The
was
and
I
film
and
had
was
a
and
gonna
greater
he also
purpose.
picked Archangel Michael, and it was him. And I know it. People can think I'm crazy, but prove it to me. Prove me
one
wrong.
one of
You're
those
right.
things. It's one of those things where when it happens, you almost wanna laugh, and if you don't laugh, you might have to cry.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Exactly.
That's what happens when you're in the face of, like, something truly unexplainable that can only be sort of chalked up to a miracle. Even if it's a coincidence, it's a
Yeah,
miracle of a
exactly.
coincidence, right? Like,
Exactly.
that's awesome story. And I thank you for sharing it, Nick. I thank you for asking it because it leads to this, because now knowing that happened to you and you have many more stories like that, along with what you told us before, it's like, I think that you're the perfect person to answer this, which is, what is a piece of advice that you live by that you can share with the audience before we wrap up Story is King here?
Piece of advice that I live by,
Mhm.
uh, well, I try to be as humble as I can be in
I'll
my
write that
life
down.
because I think that that will save you a lot of trouble. I think pride is an enemy. Pride, it might make you feel good for 5 seconds, but you'll get knocked down very quickly after that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if we can stay humble and we have humility, that's what I try to do. I'm not saying I've reached that level, but it seems to be something that I try to live by that, not judge others, and try to have as much love for everybody, including my enemies. You know, that's what I live by.
Yeah. Love that. Be humble.
You know,
Pride's the
I love
enemy.
that, man. That's
Love
yep,
love your
that's
enemies like you love your friends.
yep.
It's it's something that people will hear and have probably heard before, but what's surprising is how few people will live it or can live it or live it long enough to see its fruits. So,
Well,
been said before, but you gotta actually go do it,
yeah, well, a lot of
folks.
people think humility is weakness. It's actually a huge strength.
Mhm.
If you can arrive at a point in life where you don't suffer from this notion that you need to be loved and respected and all of that,
Mhm.
you're gonna be truly free. So
Yeah.
I would advise everybody to get on that journey because you'll reach a point where you're gonna feel peace that you didn't think existed before.
Yeah, it's almost like pride, the overbearance of pride and
Yeah.
hubris in your life is like a type of moral confusion.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Anyway, Yelena,
Hey,
that
Chris,
is
it's like
Story is King.
it is, and I was gonna say it's like my favorite, probably favorite song of all time, Nature Boy, Nat King
Yeah,
Cole,
Nat King Cole.
yeah, at the end, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return,
No,
and that's it.
it's true.
So it's the simplest and greatest thing that can maybe happen to you is to love someone else truly, and then to have that reciprocated. Um, and it's that second one that's kind of tough too. Uh, like there's been a million love songs written about the fact that happened. You're not getting that unrequited love that
Yeah,
you
Mhm.
feel
and
like you
remember, it
deserve.
doesn't have to be
So
amorous love, right? That's not what it's
no,
about,
no,
right? It's just loving thy neighbor. That is it.
yeah,
Requires
it's what Sam Cooke was singing about and Change Gonna
It's
Come.
right.
Yeah,
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 and you like
requires
Yelena said,
sacrifice,
it requires sacrifice. Yeah.
but
that's
that's the
it.
real love.
Nick, can you please lay some audience polls upon this audience, sir? Their
Oh
polls. Can
yeah,
you lay their
let's
own
do it.
polls on them?
Yeah, this is gonna be
Is that
wonderful, and I
weird? Is
think
that weird to
that,
say?
yeah, well, you say weird stuff, but this is kinda cool because we did 2 this time, Yelena,
Oh yeah.
inspired, by the works that you do, and I thought that the answer was really interesting, is really telling, so
Mhm.
I'll do the first one first and the second one second. That's how it should
Let's
go, right?
see. Let's see. Oh.
So the
We don't
first
know what the
poll.
first one is.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. All right.
Nobody
So
knows. You could lie to us.
yes, I could. I could. All right. So the first one is, if the actions of the main protagonist of a film are faith-based,
Hmm.
is the film faith-based? And we only gave the audience 2 options, yes and not necessarily. Okay? So the results of that poll were yes, 77%, and not necessarily 23%.
I have a question, but I'm
Okay?
gonna wait till you give the second one.
Good. All right. So the second one, I kind of flipped it and I said, if the actions of the main antagonist of a film are faith based, is the film faith based? Yes was 26%, not necessarily 74%. So it's almost flipped, right? So if the hero
Even by percentage, yeah.
is faith based, you're like 70 plus percent. Yes, it's faith-based, but if the villain's actions are based on faith, then it's not faith-based. I was like,
Hmm.
how is that a thing?" Right? So anyway, I thought that was really interesting. So, Chris, I know you had a thought, but I do wanna get, Yelena's thoughts on it too, but go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
and I actually have a question, so I'm gonna flip
Oh,
it over
okay.
to her really quickly. The question is just on the first one, you chose not necessarily instead of no. Why did you
Mhm.
choose that wording? Kind of let them off the hook a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I did. I wanted them to have that maybe zone in there where they
Yeah,
could say that, it gives you that, like, the first one is an absolute, right? That yes is an absolute. The other one I
right.
wanted to give a little bit of gray area to say that, okay, maybe there's a little bit in there, but I'm not going yes 100% on this. Because you saw the difference though, but it's pretty strong. Like when they have an opinion about something, our audience went all in on that. So so
On
yeah,
the
I wanted to give them
absolute.
some room. Exactly. I want to give them some room for the maybe.
Okay. Thoughts,
But
Yelena?
Yelena, what were your thoughts?
It's interesting what I just heard. It's like, and I'm thinking about it myself. Like uh, antagonist will be somebody who is obviously doing is not a hero. Is the antithesis of that. But it's
Mhm.
like uh, it's interesting. How would he be faith? But if somebody's now, this is a question, and I don't want to be revealing stuff in my film. You know, uh, and the reason I made this film is because I think everybody has a chance to get out and to like regardless of who they are or what they did in life. And now hearing something like this, and I don't know if this is why. I mean, is it because people like to see heroes, uh,
Hmm.
having faith, or how about even if somebody is not a hero, but they go through redemption? Would that be a faith-based film? And maybe in that case, maybe you would get a different answer, but maybe just place it in that thing. Well, if antagonist is faithful, I don't know really. It's I would have to think about it a little bit deeper what I think about it, but I was surprised by the
Yeah,
poll.
just how it flips, right? Well, here's the reason why I asked it is because and I kind of knew the answer going into it, right? So this is more of a test of my thinking.
Hmm.
So the
Mhm,
first thing is that it kind of gears into what you were kind of hinting at a little bit but didn't quite say, which is wait a second, if the antagonist is the bad guy, then how could he or she be faith-based? Well, a person's faith can result in negative actions.
Hmm.
But
yes.
we don't think about it that way. We think about faith-based films, right? Or faith-based people being positive. So that first one is the hero is the one doing the faith-based action. So yes, of course, the film is faith-based because faith-based equals positive,
Mhm.
Mhm,
right? So on the other side of things, I think about movies in which the villain, let's say, is committing acts that we would know of, let's say, as the jihad in the negative way,
Mhm.
mhm.
then aren't those movies faith-based in a way because we're saying that what that person is doing in their faith is something that we don't like. So it's our faith against the actions of that faith
Yeah, that's
and that's
now you
why we created them as the antagonist because what they're
yes.
doing within their faith is against our belief system, so we're making them the villain. So
Mhm.
wouldn't that be faith-based as well?
That's interesting, but now you're making this about religion, obviously.
No, there that's the
You're putting it like, and I didn't that's a faith is something outside of that, you
there
know?
you go. That's
I
go ahead.
think I think that, regardless of protagonist, antagonist, if the film itself, it doesn't have to be about anything to do with religion,
Mhm,
uh, but if film itself uplifts people and gives people courage and hope, to me, that is a faith-based film. If
Hmm.
the film talks about religion, but it's a boring, weak, good for nothing movie, that's not a faith-based movie.
mm,
Yeah, it's
there you go.
so
Yep.
That
I've
that's just
always thought about
that
the delineation between a movie about religion and a movie that's faith-based,
Mhm,
or even a movie that we might consider. So a faith-based film and a film that makes you feel faithful are also different to me. So I will
yeah,
just tell you the movies that came right to my mind in just recent memory, like Conclave from last year. Is that a
mhm.
faith-based movie? No, that's a movie about religion.
Yeah, exactly.
The protag and the antagonist are both their actions are faith-based. Right? This is
Mhm.
not a faith-based movie. Is Passion of the Christ a faith-based movie? And some people went to that movie as if it were. I don't think it is. Um, I think it's a movie about the story of Jesus.
Exactly.
It's a movie
mhm,
about religion. I find that to make the faith-based category in Hollywood, in the movie business, in the film business, the Deus ex machina has to be God or
God.
whatever their religion is. So basically,
Yeah,
no human can solve the problem. And the only thing that solves the problem at the end, for those who don't know what that is means God from the machine. It's basically where some greater power outside of the story comes in and solves your problem for you. That's a
Yes.
faith-based film. Not a movie about faith or not a movie that
well
brings about
well,
faith, but it's a
but you're
faith-based
right.
film in the movie
So what
business.
you're saying is that in the movie business,
Mhm.
right? That's the key, and that's the point of this type of poll, really, is to find out what people are thinking, and I think that's it, Chris. It's like there's that the God element. It isn't what
Yeah.
Yelena said, right? Which is if it uplifts, if it gives you hope, then it's faith based.
Mhm.
I think that I love that definition. I honestly do. But I think that what most audiences and even Hollywood will tell you is that, yeah, if God doesn't appear in the picture to help solve the problem, it's not a faith based
Not a
film.
faith-based film, yeah.
And usually, unfortunately, a lot of so-called faith-based films, they like to have uh, beautiful endings and, uh, kind of things that are maybe not always truthful, for
Yeah.
me, I
Mhm.
mean, if you're gonna go into faith, you gotta be human first,
Yeah.
we gotta
That's
be
what you
real.
do in Moses the Black to me. You
Yes, we
keep it
gotta be
very
real.
human.
on that, let me just tell you something. On that note, this was an uphill battle because when I went into attaching actors and reaching out to some studios, like faith-based studios didn't want to touch this.
Mm.
They didn't consider this a faith-based film.
It's too
And at the
real.
same time, on the other, absolutely not. And at the side, on the other side, people that maybe shy away from something that's called a faith-based film also
Mhm.
had a problem because, oh, what if we become part of this? So maybe we might be labeled as being part of the faith-based crowd, you know?
Mhm.
But this is not it. I'm all about the truth. I tell the honestly what's going on in the society, and maybe I come from a different kind of faith-based not just upbringing, but growth that the greater spiritually you are, the less you think of yourself, let's
Mhm.
be realistic. One of
Yep.
the things that Saint Moses the Black, one of the great sayings that he had was the one who sees his own sins never sees the sin in another. So
Mm.
this is a different kind of this is the real deal, who has faith, like it could be somebody who the way to find out is when you're in really difficult situations. I mean, there are
Yeah.
people that can claim they have so much faith, but when there is a difficult situation out there, somebody who thought he was an atheist can prove that he had way more faith than the person who thought he was going to church and he was faithful. So this is a very personal stuff. I know, especially in the US, everybody likes to categorize everything in one. This is a faith based. This is that. It's not quite like that. And I think that a work of art should not be. It should be done honestly, and inspiration has to come honestly, and has to be done to hopefully uplift. I believe that, and at least make people think. It shouldn't have an agenda.
Yeah.
Behind. Otherwise, it's not art. It's like propaganda.
Ooh,
I love it.
I love that. I love that.
It's a good answer. And Nick, you did it. You dropped the audience polls on us, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate
Yep,
the
my
insight on
pleasure.
these polls. And why don't we tell everybody about this week's sponsors, Nick? Can we do that?
I think we should. It's
We should
important.
do it.
They should
All
know.
right.
Scene 1A, take 3, marker.
To work on a film set, you gotta have the experience. But how do you get that experience? Without being on a film set. At Film Crew Technology, we learn the hands-on skills needed to be successful.
The first step is pre-production. We learn everything from development, budgets, and breakdowns to scheduling, shot list, and workflows.
Once we know where we're going, we learn how to put it into practice with professional industry standard equipment. Once we're done with principal photography, we jump into post.
We learn the process from onset DIT to delivery. We don't just learn software, we learn how to become a successful editor.
If you want experience and are ready to start your filmmaking path, go to columbiastate.edu/FCT to sign up today.
Okay, guys, I need to confess something. Like all of you, I want to eat better. But at some point, I had to admit, healthy cooking just wasn't happening as much as I wanted it to. Not because I'm lazy, but because I don't always have 3 extra hours every night to cook. It's not that I'm bad at eating healthy, Chris, or that I'm failing at nutrition. At least I don't believe that's the case. It's that I'm failing at having unlimited time and energy. And that, my friends, is why I've been using Factor. No meal prep, no recipes, no pretending I'm going to chop vegetables at 9:30 at night. It's real food, prepared by chefs, designed by dietitians, delivered to my door. 2 minutes in the microwave, and I'm done.
Yeah, spot on, sir. Because, the first thing, this is actual food, lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the kind of meals I would make if my life slowed down for even a second. There's also no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils, none of the yucky stuff that your dietitian or your doctor or nutritionist tells you not to eat. My go-to meal has been the Tuscan tomato chicken because during the weeks I'm completely slammed. It's the one thing that still makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. I just take that out, pop it in the microwave, and it's ready to go. But what I love is that Factor fits your life and not a made up meal plan. They've got over 100 rotating meals every week, so you'll never run out of options. They have high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support. Cool, new, different. Even ready to eat salads, which is kind of amazing since they're shipping it to you. I think they just do a wonderful job with that. They've also got new Muscle Pro collection, like a new Muscle Pro collection for strength and recovery for those out there lifting, still hanging on to those New Year's resolutions. I see you. You pick what aligns with your goals, whether that's more protein, calorie counting, or just eating better without having to think about it.
Yes, sir. And here's the real value. Factor meals are always fresh, never frozen. They're ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no cleanup. And the most important thing, my friends, no mental load. Factor doesn't give you motivation to eat better. It removes the reason you weren't able to eat better in the first place. If you want to make healthy eating actually doable, check out Factor because feeding yourself well shouldn't be another full-time job.
That's right. Now, if you're ready to make it happen, head to factormeals.com/make-it50off and use code make-it50off, 50OFF, to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus, and this is crazy, Nick, free breakfast for a year. Free breakfast for a year. So offers only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Go to factor.com/make-it50off for 50% off your first box and free breakfast for a year. And now, back to the show. I love our sponsors. They keep us afloat.
I love right there.
I
Hits
love.
them in the heart. You
I
know,
mean, come
yeah, they
on,
help us, man. They help us.
Shout out.
Yeah. It's
Shout out
just great to know that people have your back.
Yeah,
Just
shout out
gotta
to
say it.
all the sponsors, all the brands that have come through over the last year. Keep the Make It podcast afloat. Thank you to the audience as well. You do your part. And now, a gift to you, the audience. Filmmaker Q&A, led again by the one and only Nick Bugs. Nick, give us some Filmmaker Q&A.
Yes, sir. We're gonna jump into this, but because my questions that I have for today's Filmmaker Q&A are primarily around this wonderful film that you have recently produced, I'd love for you to just give our audience a quick overview of Moses the Black.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Well, it's a film that was I was inspired by the story of a real person who lived in 4th century Egypt, who was a notorious gang leader, and who had this incredible story of repentance that basically he not only had a change of heart and abandoned the life that he lived, but he became extremely holy, and meaning he became a priest and a monk, and he joined different kind of brotherhood. And not only that, but he was a man of such a great courage that he thought that because of the life that he lived in the past, because he has hurt a lot of people, killed a lot of people, that he should glorify his maker by his death, violent death, and he prayed for that, and he became a martyr. So to me, that was like unbelievable, and I was inspired by because that's a real deal. You know, there's something, you know, that this was a heart, even when he was, I'm sure, when he was doing all the destructive things that he was doing, I'm sure that heart somewhere was ready for something much greater, you know, that in order to make that kind of transition. And not only I mean, you have churches erected in his name. I don't know, people might not know about it, but St. Moses the Black is very well known, and especially in Orthodox world and Coptic and, you know, Eastern Christian world. So I was inspired originally by him, and but I was not happy with the story that I was rewriting, because I felt that it wasn't going to do the justice to what I was trying to say. And then I came to what the film became. I told the story of a gangster in a modern day Chicago, a man who getting out of prison on a revenge spree, and he encounters St. Moses the Black along the way, and after which he's never the same. He basically, I believe, experiences the true transformation because of being inspired by the saint. And it's a story that it's very real.
Mm.
I've worked very closely with the consultants from the Chicago's West Side. I wouldn't be able to do this without them, because I wanted to make a truthful story, not Hollywood, maybe what I thought that life looks like, but to really go in there. I've had a lot of meetings. I spent a lot of time there, and I told a very truthful story of the West Side of Chicago, of this particular person, our lead character that's played by Omar Epps. And I think that was the reason that a lot of people there in the movie decided to be part of it. And they all told me the reason they wanted to be part of it, not only because they felt the story like this was in a way essential, for a lot of reasons, but that it's going to speak to people because
Mm.
the way it was written, it was very truthful. So it's a story of a gangster that basically undergoes transformation because of the real Saint Moses the Black from the 4th century.
Awesome. That's
Yep.
perfect intro to my
Oh, oh,
questions. And
oh.
it's funny. And Chris is normally the segue king, but I think Yelena might be the segue queen getting into
Boom.
these questions. So the first question is very simple. So you said that telling the literal story of the 4th century saint wasn't enough for you artistically. So what was the moment you realized this story needed to live in a modern world?
This happened actually. I started thinking about the story around 2018, and I thought maybe I had a writer's block or I was like depleted creatively because I was about to shoot Man of God. But it wasn't that. It was just simply that I don't, it's just something was off. I didn't feel it would be a great movie. And it
Hmm.
was not until a couple of years later that I was at this place in Greece, and I literally I saw some scenes from I realized that I have to tell a story in present day Chicago, and I saw the grandmother, the Saint Moses the Black, the funeral. I had it right in front of my eyes, and that was that creative moment that just, I don't know, popped out of nowhere. And I realized that, wow, this would be actually a great movie. But then I had a long journey in front of me that I had to meet with people that I met in West Side of Chicago, particularly Reginald Akeem Barry Sr., who was incarcerated for 17 years. He was a leader of the pretty big gang in Chicago,
Mhm.
and he's been out of prison now for more than 17 years, trying to give back to the community and help community uh, to people not to fall prey to the same things that he was doing. And the fact that I was introduced to people like that somebody like him embraced the project, that thought that he saw himself in the story of Saint Moses, and he believed that the story that we were going to tell was going to help his community was really, you know, I think providential as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, and like you said, you were able to connect with people who really connected with this story.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just, I think one of the things that Chris and I probably appreciate too is that you actually talk to people from that area, right? To learn about that
Yeah.
area and to be authentic, right? And bring that to the screen.
Not only that I spoke to them, I'll tell you what I did. I went there with a little icon of Saint Moses in the story. I wanted to also get their blessing,
Hmm.
because this is a place where this is how I work. I don't do this for my own glory. I've realized that I entered the territory that it's not something that I'm very familiar with.
Mhm.
So I had to get a blessing from the people to see if this will help their community, because I'm not gonna just go off and do something that I think it's gonna be good, but in effect it's not. So once I saw how everybody reacted to the story and how uh, happy everyone was that somebody was willing to work with them very closely, and to be there. And I felt I was blessed to have met all of my brothers and sisters from the west side of Chicago, and I think that's why I did it. That's what gave me even more strength, because back then it was just a script, but then let's get all the names, all the takes so much to make a movie. But the
Yeah.
fact that not only I was telling a story indirectly of St. Moses, but now I had a responsibility to do to basically um, n- to do justice to people that have put their faith and trust in me. So this is what gave me this strength and courage to fight for this. And I just really, even though it was very difficult, I thought of everybody there that were waiting for this film, and they were so excited about it. That's what got me through a lot of difficult moments. And again, I thank God for everything that we were able to put it together.
That's
Just
beautiful.
for the global audience, guys, this part of Chicago, so west side of Chicago, so not all of Chicago, but just this one community in Chicago has this disproportionate amount of unsolved murders within it. It's very unusual, and to the point where you would, without being conspiratorial, you would assume is happening with a degree of purposefulness there. And it's a community that, um, needs some light shone on it to foster some sort of change there, because it's too violent, and it's essentially, a black hole. It lives like a parenthetical within the larger Chicago. And why is that? And what is happening, right? So just for those people, we have a global audience. Shout out to Norway. I found out we were #1 in Norway in film yesterday. So they may not know about West Side Chicago. So I just share that with you guys. Anyway, Nick, go ahead.
No, thank you for that, Chris.
Yep, of course.
And with that, I'm going to ask the second question, which is,
Mhm.
there's a line between showing transformation, which you've talked about, and preaching transformation.
Mm.
So, how did you discipline yourself as a filmmaker and a person of faith to show change without instructing the audience how to feel?
I do not like to preach at all. Forgive me for, but this is I because I'm a straight shooter myself, and like everybody else, nobody can be fooled. And I think that even Man of God wasn't preachy. If you see the movie, there was nothing preachy about it. And I've heard that from people that know nothing about my faith or
I,
saint,
I
or
didn't
and
find it preachy.
that's
Mm.
and I tried even with that kind of narrative to stay away from that, because I mean, who am I to tell somebody how they should feel or do? But my job is to tell the truth, to be truthful, to speak about. I mean, there's one Russian writer that I really love, Dostoevsky. The reason why he
Yes.
was so
Mhm.
popular worldwide is because that's exactly what he was doing. He would tell the ugly truths of our reality, of our societies, and he wouldn't shy away from anything. But then he would always show there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And this is what I'm trying to do with my work. It's not to preach. It's not to I don't try to tell people to do one thing or another, but I'm hopefully I can inspire people, and so my intention by not being, hey, I want to preach to somebody. I think that's why uh that's why it doesn't come across that way, because it's really not my intention. My intention is to help, to infuse some light, to like even going to Chicago's West Side. I mean, you talk about it. I mean, but you know what's so interesting? I mean, forgive me not to change the subject just for a
No,
second.
please go ahead.
That I that people that that live there and they suffer, and they're. I mean, I was amazed by so much love and respect that I've gotten, and how people they lose their loved ones, and I'm talking about on regular basis, and how they live with it, and how they carry that cross, and how they carry that pain, and with what kind of dignity and grace.
Yeah.
I've never seen that anywhere else. I mean, if I've experienced, I mean, I've seen people like lose their home and they're thinking of jumping off the cliff. But
Yeah.
here you have people that lose their loved ones. I'm talking about people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and yes, they hurt, but they just keep going on, keep moving, and holding on to faith and to love
And they may have
and
normalized a certain kind of pain.
that, but there is something. So nobody can tell me if we call that a black hole. I'm not judging you for what you said. Let me just. So I'm not saying that in a judgmental way.
Mhm,
Then and I've seen so much light there, right?
mhm,
Then maybe place like that's suffering, that's undergoing, maybe that's what our souls look like. Maybe with everybody
hmm,
else around who lives a comfortable life, maybe we need to go to inner cities to see what inside of us. What are we? Because I don't believe in. I think that cannot happen on its own. That people are the same everywhere. So something is really wrong with our society.
mhm.
That we have this kind of things. Forgive me for saying that. It's because I'm an advocate now for them, and I've seen that nobody wants to live that kind of life, and
And that's what
people.
Chris was alluding to. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Chris was alluding to. He's like, this can't just be, as in, it's just not a natural thing to happen.
No,
So Chris is saying this has to be on purpose. This has to be by someone's design,
by
and
Mhm.
people
design.
are living within that design. But because they are
And that these
human and
crimes aren't
because
being
they do have
solved and that
faith.
arrests aren't being made and
Right,
you know,
exactly.
and that there's this perpetual cycle that seems to be happening, Nick. I think that is
Yep,
just cannot be normal. Yeah.
right.
No, it's
And
not
to your
normal, but
point,
that's
it's
how I
terrible that it's
believe that
normalized.
that where you have so much darkness, then the grace is big. That's why I believe that if people stick to their faith, if people don't give up on that, especially in that kind of situation where who knows what's going on, as you're saying, then that's the only thing that can save that can override that darkness eventually,
Yeah.
and things can change, and I believe in that. And that was say, look at the story of Saint Moses. Who would have thought that he could have changed
Yeah.
and become. So that's why it's interesting subject, but I agree with you. I think that I had the same kind of feeling because everybody I met, people actually, like if you go to New York or if you go to LA and you meet, like people can be a little more aggressive on outwardly, but
On
in
the outside.
Midwest, in West Side Chicago, you don't get that vibe.
Mm-mm.
So you ask yourself, well, I actually feel quite peaceful here. I'm on Pulaski Road in Madison, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, I know things can happen, but okay, but I don't feel disturbed. And I
Mm,
met people, and then they're pretty. They have big hearts. So why is this going on? And it's interesting what you're saying. I had the same thought because there's a difference between being somewhere and you have this creepy feeling. And you notice that people are just so angry and lashing out, but then you're somewhere where you don't see so much of that, but then you know that weird things are happening, and then you really ask yourself, what is really going on? you
mhm.
know?
Yeah, yeah, I think Chris hit the nail on the head with that one. All right, so I have my last question, and then we're gonna move on to our next segment here, but I have to ask this.
Mm.
So, when you first began your conversations with executive producers and actors like 50 Cent, Quavo, and Wiz Khalifa, what aspects of Moses the Black resonated with them the most? I'm just curious, like, why did they decide that they needed to finance and or even be in this film?
It was, yes, they were intrigued by St. Moses the Black, but I think the
Mhm.
story that I written, thanks to my brothers and sisters from Chicago's West Side, I'm gonna say that again, had resonated with them. They saw that this will speak to people, particularly Wiz. Wiz was the first one to get on board,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
remember,
That's
uh
interesting.
yeah,
Mhm.
first one, because I was able to get hold of, him and his managers, and, I was waiting for him to read the script, and once he had read the script, I remember him popping up in Zoom, and he was like this, he was like, "I'm in." this because this is very real, and this is, I believe, going to speak to people, and that's why I want to be part of this. So I think that was very similar with Omar and with Fidi, that they felt that this story is essential in a way. Outside of being having Saint Moses the Black, that's just, it's there. It's beautiful, right? But
Yeah.
its story itself, it's essential. And they believe that would really speak to people, and that's why. And even Wiz said that there are a lot of things nowadays, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. I mean, there are a lot of things out there that, especially in the upper echelons of our industry, right?
Mhm.
People will make things that, with or without agendas, but clearly they're not connecting to people.
Yeah.
That am I right to say that? That
Of course.
there is some kind of disconnect, that they're trying to figure out what people would like to see, but they seem to be a little really far removed from that. And this is what Wiz at least says even with the music, like he said, even with, like, we are like rappers, we definitely speak about real life experiences. And even here, we're starting to kind of remove ourselves from the real deal. This is at least what Wiz said, but it says this will speak to people, and that's why I believe in it. So that's all I can share with you. That clearly, being truthful and honest and authentic has paid off, and this is what has attracted all this talent to be part of this.
I don't think a hip hop artist, and thank you for that answer, by the way, it's awesome. I don't think a hip hop artist is any different than any other entertainer, including me and you, Nick. You have to be careful not to get sucked into audience capture. How many hip hop artists have we seen that rap lyrics that they perceive the audience wants to hear versus what they want to say? Tupac used to talk about that, like making millions off of cuss words. And sometimes it wasn't what he wanted to say, but he knew it's what his audience wanted him to be like, right? I think about that verse he did on with Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? This is clearly just not who Tupac was, but it worked for what the audience wanted from those two artists at the time, and that's a old school song, but it just reminds me of that, and we see that with even the likes, like, I think about Miley Cyrus. Will, will she wake up one day and realize The Climb is her best song? And will she be okay with that? Will she be okay with just admitting that that feel good song is the best thing she has done and had the biggest impact on everyone that listened to it globally? Or will she be caught up in audience capture, her friend group, this group over here that says, "Oh no, you should lean more towards urban style music.
Mm.
You should be like, make that blacker." Like, why? You're not good at, like, you might not be good at that. So what, the audience wants that. No, your friends are listening to hip hop when they party, and now you wanna reflect that. No, do what you're good at. You're good
I
at
agree.
stuff like The Climb, right? So it's really hard to, and shout out to Miley. She came and saw my daughter in the hospital. Will always love her. At Vanderbilt Hospital when she was there when she was 9 years old. So I'm not talking shit about Miley Cyrus. I'm just saying, like, it's easy to get caught up in, let's just regurgitate back what the audience wants us to say, and that's really tough. Second thing is, shout out to Corey Hendricks, who was
Oh,
awesome in Moses the Black. I really loved his performance. I know Omar Epps is the man. I know he's the lead, the pro tag. He really, right? He's great. We know he's great. But
yeah.
I thought Corey anchored Omar's character so well, and anchored the vibe of, I grew up very modestly, and I saw that people like Corey Hendricks's character more often than I saw people like Wiz Khalifa's character, for example. So I really enjoyed that portrayal by Corey. Shout out to you, man.
Can I say something about this?
Please,
Because I
please.
love Corey, and I need to just stress the fact that I really wanted Corey to play that role, and I was like, I'm gonna use my words carefully, like, I'd say I was pushed into trying to hire some other people. And at one point, I was so like certain that he should play that role that I stopped answering phone calls and until
I love,
the set. No, seriously,
that's
because
amazing.
Yeah.
Does Corey know this?
I knew he knows
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So then when I met with him, what's interesting, he was like a little weary, like, oh my God, another movie, because he only got the sides. He didn't
Yeah.
read the script.
Yeah,
So he
okay.
goes reading the sides. He's like, what is this? Another thing about Chicago? He says, because he says, I did one movie about Chicago that I knew it was not going to turn out well. It says, and they're like, you know, the community is really tough there. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna tell you how they feel.
Yeah.
And so he was nervous. But then when he read the script and then he knew, check this out. He goes like, he met with me and he goes like, explain to me, did you manage to write this? I'm like, and I'm like,
I'm sure everybody's thinking that, but didn't have the balls to say it.
Yeah.
It was my friend Reggie. Reggie who? It was Akeem? I'm like, yeah, Akeem. Oh, so he knows Akeem's son. So Corey is from the west side of Chicago. So
Yeah.
he was able to see even who the film is actually. There is a subline about this character Saeed, that it was a real person. And
Yep.
he knew exactly who he was. And he goes like, okay, now I get it. Like, now I know why. It says, how could you pull this? You know, so he was like intrigued. And then when we were on the set, when we started rolling and Omar was doing scenes with him, because even Omar had some suggestions previously about Mike, the role of Mike. But I was like, no, the guy, I'm not going with anybody else. And you know what? When the camera started rolling, when Omar saw it, he just walked up to me and goes like, "You were right about this
Yep.
one."
Yeah.
That is
Shout out to-
wonderful. I love
Like,
it.
he did an incredible job. I agree with you
Yes.
100%.
Thank you. And Nick, thank you for another illuminating Filmmaker Q&A, sir. I give you all the
Oh, look at that. Well, thank you
all the
very much.
flowers.
I do appreciate you. Well, you know, only half of the flowers could be mine because the responses were Yelena's.
That's right. I know that you love Hawaii and you have family from there. I would lay you, but that would come off wrong on the podcast. I want to lay you.
It's too late
And
now.
I want to lay Yelena. Also inappropriate. Inappropriate sounding.
Highly.
Inappropriate sounding.
Lay. I want the, maybe it should
But
be.
I'm just talking about flowers.
About flowers.
Okay.
Yeah,
From Hawaii. Okay. Okay, let's wrap
Let's
this
do
thing
it.
up. This has been incredible. Let's clear the set. Are you ready, Yelena?
I'm ready.
All right, we are
Let's
going
go.
to clear the set. Question number 1. What are your top 3 films? Only unfair questions on Clear the Set, by the way. So.
Running on Empty.
Ooh, okay.
Running on Empty by Sidney Lumet, one of my favorite films.
Okay.
Uh,
Writing these down.
Asphalt Jungle by John Huston.
Heck yeah.
And I think One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest.
Ooh.
by-
That's the second time or third time someone said One Flew Over the Cuckoo.
It's a classic
Yeah.
canon.
It affects people. It just does.
There are many more, obviously, I can mention, but you asked me for 3, so that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
I
that's
like that
great.
list. It's
Yep.
maybe one of the most original lists we've gotten so far. Okay.
Okay.
Name the film you're embarrassed to admit you haven't seen. So here's the context. You're with a bunch of your film friends. They're all talking about a movie, and you don't even want to admit you haven't seen it. You're just nodding along like you get it.
Probably some of the work of Tarkovsky.
Okay.
I haven't seen yours.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me embarrassed.
Yeah.
I should be.
Yep. Well, that's a perfect one too, because it's kind of like you get around a bunch of film people, and they'll start talking about the canon films, and it's like, if you haven't seen them, it's like, oh, I haven't seen Citizen Kane, I haven't seen, Godfather, I haven't seen, and they just, I haven't seen, what's the one called on
Chris.
Golden Pond.
Yeah,
like,
but you know me, I'll tell people, if you haven't seen The Princess Bride, then
you haven't
come
seen
on.
The Princess Bride,
you know?
whatever it is. So Mirrors would definitely fits into that sort of canon talk.
Well, especially if it's acting, you know, if it's directors talking, that would be. And I should see it. I've heard it's an amazing, but I haven't seen it yet, so I better
Homework,
watch it
homework for
tonight.
you. Okay, name the film everyone loves that you hate.
Wow. Wow, hold on, give me a second. Oh, tell me which film I absolutely cannot stand. The one with Leonardo DiCaprio where with the banking, what was that one?
The Wolf of Wall Street.
The
Wolf
Wolf
of
of
the
Wall
Wall
Street.
Everyone loves that. You're right.
Street.
Okay, you got to explain yourself. Why?
Listen, do you know if I tell you that I read a script that was original script for that movie,
Okay.
it had much better writing. That film was yeah, what was that all about? Tell me what this film was about.
Here's where The Wolf of Wall Street missed for me, and I'm not going to say I disliked it because I thought the performances were great.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
movie that is supposed to be a cautionary tale, and all it did was make young men want to be Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, it was the
I
opposite,
have
right?
not met a 20 to 35-year-old that doesn't want to just be Leonardo DiCaprio's character, except
oh,
don't go to jail, except don't get caught cheating by your wife, except don't like remove all the
Do all
negative,
the things.
do all
Yeah.
the things, but just don't get caught doing it. If they all want to be Jordan Belfort, and the whole point of the movie and the reason they have Jordan Belfort come out at the end and after he's out of prison and try to reform people is because it's supposed to be a cautionary tale, like not to rip people off. It ends really badly. And I feel like that message got completely lost.
yeah. Well, it was a lot of things. There is I love Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic actor. I would watch him in anything. So this is nothing to do against him.
Yeah.
But there's also another one with him that also everybody loved that I thought was like, oh, maybe it's just it was an Aviator, right?
Aviator,
That's
the Aviator. Yep.
well, there's so many holes in that script, but it's okay.
I've
It's
heard that
it was
about The Departed too. Like people that are actually from
yeah,
Boston
Departed.
don't
Yeah,
like The Departed.
did you watch the original Departed?
No, I have not seen the original one. Full
I haven't.
That's
disclosure, I know it exists. I haven't seen it.
that was a decent film. Yeah, Departed also with the rat walking at the end. I think there are some directors that are phenomenal, that have been told how phenomenal they are,
Mhm.
that they keep doing, I think, decent work, but maybe it's not as phenomenal as the work they've done before
Mhm.
because maybe they're told too many times how phenomenal they are.
Yeah. Very good.
I like that.
Fair
I like
enough.
that.
No. Okay. What is your
Last one.
favorite
What do you
cheat
got?
day meal?
Pardon me? Sorry,
What is your
what's
favorite cheat day meal? So you're gonna eat
cheat
whatever
day?
you want. You're
Oh,
off your
oh.
diet, whatever diet that normally
I like
is. You're
I
just
like
gonna go ham on something.
I like Mickey D's.
Keep it simple.
Okay, what
And
do you
it's
order?
everywhere.
What do you order from there?
How many times I had this crisis, you know?
Mm.
In Los Angeles, you know, something would hit me, and I would have to go through drive-through. It's like I would like to make myself feel better, so,
What do you
yeah,
get? What do you get at McDonald's?
I would get a Big Mac, I would get filet of fish, I would get, apple pie,
Mhm.
I would get,
This is all just one order, right? A Big Mac, a filet of fish, apple pie.
everything and
Yeah.
cheeseburger.
Yeah.
The many moments in LA I've had that, you know, it made me feel much better.
Nice. It's like, just give me everything in column A. You know,
Yeah.
just that. Just
But
When I
it's
w
usually my
just a
cheese.
column A, Nick.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 19 years old, my friend Miles Kennard, shout out to you, Miles, if you're watching this right now. His father got a job in Ohio and he had to move. And so we decided we'd spend one last night together, night of debauchery together, just to send him off. And I was too young to drink, obviously, but I was still drinking. And I remember we were hungry. You know, after a night of debauchery, Yelena, you get a little hungry.
Yeah.
And the McDonald's wasn't open. We wanted it. And then we ended up going to a burger place called Crystal's, which is
Mhm.
like a White Castle, but in the South.
Tiny
And
burgers.
tiny burgers or tiny little cheeseburgers. We got a box of like 40. Now, Miles is not a small guy. I am not a small guy. And we took those burgers down. But
Yeah, man.
they gave me that. But they gave me the itis, and so before I could finish the last burger, I fell asleep. And the
Oh,
next morning, my dad woke me up, and I had a little cheeseburger in my hand, still dead asleep, with a tiny burger in my hand.
Just
I had not
tiny bird.
I had not released it in my sleep, Nick. The clamps were down on the burger still. It's
On
like
the
my
burger,
arm
I
was to the
love it.
side. I was passed out. I was slobbering, and yet
I
the
love it.
burger survives. I probably ate it.
Okay.
Knowing me, I probably
Yeah.
woke up and just ate that
You
for
woke
breakfast.
up and just ate it.
Yeah,
Yep.
what a terrible story that was to share with the world. Anyway,
I'm
Yelena,
glad we have
you have
similar
officially there we go. You have
Yep.
by the way, I'm a McDonald's #1 guy too. So when I never eat McDonald's if I can help
Yeah.
it, frankly. But when I do binge it, I'll go get that #1, which is a Big Mac, fry, and I'll play myself by getting a Coke Zero. I'll be like, oh no, give me
Make
the
it
Big
all
Mac and a
better.
large fry, but
Yeah. Let's go diet on the Coke.
hold
Yep.
off on the sugar and the Coke. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna take care of my health here.
Mm,
So yeah, I'll always get a Coke Zero.
smart.
I actually like the flavor. But anyway,
Yeah. You
go ahead, Yelena, please.
I won't. I mean, I won't. Actually, I better not say it.
No, say it.
People that worry too much about their health. I mean, we all do. We should. Health is important, and I eat healthy. I really do.
You
So
look healthy.
I'm a hypocrite to say this, but if sometimes you ask yourself, like, I know when somebody overdoes it,
Mhm.
I would tell them, okay, what do you want to do? Die healthy? It's okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in the immortal words of Van Wilder, "Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive."
Yeah, of course,
Mm.
health number one. Listen, without health, life is not going to be fun at all. So I
Right, right.
encourage everybody to be healthy. But I'm just joking when somebody
Have some
overdoes
fun. Yeah,
Have
yeah,
some
have
fun
some
too.
fun.
Nothing's worse than when you invite somebody, like, "Hey, do you wanna go have ice cream with me?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then you go there and you order your ice cream, and they're like, "No, I don't want any." I'm like, "What?" "Well, I'm here." I'm like, "No, no, no, the whole thing was we were gonna be eating ice cream
Together.
together. Come on. Come on. Oh, is this
Yeah.
taking a month off your life? How do you know?" Bring the
Yeah.
what we're finding out now is stress is one of the along with your genetics, is the #1 factor in shortening your life.
Yep.
You can eat like hell,
I agree.
and if you're happy doing it, you will live. How long did Dom DeLuise live, Nick? Was that his
I don't
name,
know,
that big
but a
old
long
dude?
time. Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah. I
lived
know
a
who you're
long
talking
time.
about. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know people they ate whatever they wanted. They smoked, they drank, and they lived to be 100. And I know people
Bob Hope.
that make it far because I agree with you 100%. Is the stress, like constant pressure, not sleeping well. Those are the
Those
again.
will get you.
Don't want to smoke. We don't want to drink. We want to be healthy. I'm underlying. I'm big
Yep.
health buff. But yes, if you we don't want to eat healthy. We don't want to be eating healthy to overcompensate for our stressful life. That's not going to help us.
That's it. Yeah. Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get
Give me
out
a burger
alive.
tonight now. Come
You'll
on.
never get out alive. All right. Yelena,
All
what
right,
does
last
it
question.
mean? What does it mean to make it? Let's wrap this thing up.
Okay, are you asking me make it in Hollywood or make it in general?
No.
Nope.
What does it mean to make it?
Yep.
To make it.
You look yourself in the mirror and you say, "I've made it."
Uh, Make it for me would be an exit strategy. Strategy.
Okay.
Okay.
Exit strategy.
Yeah,
To
let's talk
make
about it.
okay, no, I'm joking. I mean, that's funny. That's the first thing that came. To make it would be, I think, to arrive at a point in your life where you feel peaceful and content with yourself, and to continue being in the process of becoming.
Okay.
I love it. I
That's
love it.
an A++ answer. I like that.
See, that's why I didn't want to think about it.
Yeah.
See, exactly. Yeah. You don't
Coming
need to
from the
think
heart.
about it when you know about it. Come on now,
Yeah.
Coming from the heart. I think that was
Yeah.
great, and I don't
Yeah,
think I've
it's
heard
awesome.
anyone position it that way before, Nick. So, Yelena, again, wonderful job. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with Nick and myself and the Make It podcast and this audience. You're truly incredible. We're going to be following you every step of the way. Can you tell the people out there where they can find you on social media, see some of your work, follow you, etc.?
Okay, I'm gonna say this. You can find my film on social media
Yep.
because I'm not. I'm this freak. I'm like a relic or something. I'm
Mhm.
not on personally on social media, but I not because I have anything against it. It's just
Mhm.
it's not something that I. But you can find. Please follow us at Moses the Black Movie. You
Mhm.
can get all the information. Movies coming out on January 30th.
Mhm.
In a lot of theaters across the country, and the tickets are already on sale. It's if you want to go get your friends and see this film, I think if nothing else, you'll be entertained and you'll feel good at the end.
Thank you so much for that, and we will do that. So everybody out there, you heard it directly from the writer, director of this film, Yelena Popovic. Go watch the movie Moses the Black, starring Omar Epps, Wiz Khalifa, and Quavo, produced, executive produced by 50 Cent. So go watch that. Thank you so much for the time. Now, if you want to follow us, it's really easy. Underscore Make It Podcast on X, Instagram, TikTok. If you're on Facebook, you can just search for the Make It Podcast and follow us there. Really easy. Will be the first thing that comes right up. And of course, if you want to find us and communicate with us directly, we respond to all DMs, 100% of comments. So find us on YouTube. That's our primary platform. Go to YouTube, search for The Make It Podcast. Will be the very first thing that comes up. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the channel, and then, like Nick always says, engage with us. So leave a comment. We have a community page that's awesome where we put all our polls and comments. We have a lot of swag. We currently are giving away a free download of A24 Studio scripts, so go check that out. So youtube.com, find us on YouTube, The Make It Podcast, and subscribe when you get there. Also, you can rate us 5 stars and follow us and subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And with that, Nick, can you please leave us with the Credo?
I shall, my friend, and
You
I do
shall.
have to echo. I have to echo all the love that you and the flowers that you threw Yelena's way. Yelena, thank you
Yep.
so much for being with
Fillets.
us.
Mhm.
Yeah, we love the film. We really do hope that other people go out there and watch it. We love
Thank you.
not just the movies that you make, but the spirit behind it. And we know that you are a kindred spirit with us here at the Make It Podcast. So it has been a blessing to us as well. So thank you for
Yep.
blessing us with your presence.
Thank you. I really I feel honored and I appreciate you guys.
This was fun.
Yep, thank you so much. So I will say to our filmmaking friends, family, fans, and followers out there, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Yelena, talk to you soon.
Yep, I'll do it again.
Thank you.
All right, folks.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.